Welcome back, guys. It is a home makeover time. Let's go ahead and get started. In today's video, we are going to be going through our new home gym. So we have a spare room, which would be like a spare living room or office space, kind of whatever you want it to be in our new house, and we are going to turn it into our home gym. So this is going to involve a lot of painting and just like prepping. So let's just start there. My boyfriend was able to go ahead and start that painting process while I was at work. So he started in with Sherwin Williams Tricorn. We did originally get it in the color satin. This was for easy cleaning, and then for a home gym that's not meant to be that, or for ventilation purposes and things, they suggested the satin so we could still wipe the walls. That way there's no buildup of condensation or anything like that. So that's what we went with, and he started in on getting it painted, and we ended up doing 2 coats. Along with that, I also did the trim work in there. I'm just using a Bare product that I have used in the past for my trim. So I went ahead and gave a fresh coat on all of the white trim. We have crown molding and trim on the bottom for the baseboards, and we got that all taken care of. Now, the next part was going to be putting in the floor. We have those foam puzzle pieces that we've just collected through the years because our previous home gym was the entire basement. So we kept all of those, and we gave all of those a good sweep before we packed them up, and then a good scrubbing with just some warm water and some Dawn dish soap. And then we went through and picked out the pieces that we wanted. Some are just a little off on color, slightly on sizes, even though they're the same product from different batches. They just don't always add up the way they're supposed to. So we picked out the darkest color that we have, and hopefully we would have enough for the whole space. So I just started slowly piecing those together using some of the edge pieces for the parts that are more visible, and then cutting down faux edge pieces for the other parts of the room. And I'm just gonna start where the doorway starts and go until the back of the room. That way any cut pieces may not be as noticeable in that back corner. To do this, I like to, when you get to a wall and you have to cut one down, I'm just using a box cutter and this old piece of wood that I use to cut things, spray paint things on. It just kind of comes in handy as like a movable desktop basically. And I like to, instead of measure, which you can do, measure the opening, I like to just lay the piece down upside down with the piece of the puzzle that you want to keep facing the wall. And then I just take the box cutter that I'm using and I make an indent on either side that is like the furthest from the wall. So like if you have the little puzzle pieces where they go into each other, you want the furthest piece that's going to be filled from the wall. That way you get the correct measurement. So after that, I'm taking this long metal yardstick. I'm just putting it up to those 2 indentions that I make to make sure I'm cutting a straight line, and I just score it a few times and then cut it completely through, and it ends up matching up pretty well. Just make sure that, again, you're making your measurements from the furthest piece of the wall and making a mark on each side. That's way you're keeping it pretty straight. And again, if you are more of a measuring type person, you can measure to make sure that that happens. So I'm just gonna piece this floor together, make it fit nice and snug, but not too snug to where it's kind of bowing up, because if you do that, then it'll shift on you a lot, or it's more likely to come apart. And I just did that for the entire room. Now I will say it has been a few years since we actually purchased this floor because we have been using it for a while. It has held up great. My boyfriend had even bought some before I even came along, and it's done wondrous. And I just am using this to, one, give it the look that it needs to do, but more importantly, protect my hardwood floors that we do have in the house. This way we can put all of the machinery that we need in there and, set weights and things on the floor and not have to worry about scuffing up or ruining any of the hardwood floor, but also make it more comfortable to actually work out in. Since it is in our house, we do a lot of barefoot working out, or we do have shoes specifically for in the house use, which I know might sound silly, but my daughter has special needs, and so she's always laying on the floor, and so she rolls around and puts her mouth on the floor a lot, and I want to make sure that it's always clean and doesn't have shoes that have been worn outside or in public bathrooms or anything walking around and on our floors. Now that the room is kind of starting to come together, we are wanting to go ahead and get our light up, which we did not have up before. If you've been following kind of the house remodeling, you know that we have scraped all of the popcorn ceilings, sanded them, and repainted them. And in that process, we did take down the fan that was currently in there for a different fan that we think would match the vibe we're going for a little bit better, but also provide a smaller or take up a smaller area to provide more arm room for Austin. He is taller than me, so any jumping jacks or any movements, arms above his head, he just doesn't want to worry about getting caught up in the fan or like hitting it or anything, since it is you know, a smaller space than what we had before. So we found this really awesome fan, an LED lighted fan, and I believe it was off of Amazon. So if it was, I'll link it in the description below. If it wasn't, I'll link the brand that it is in case you're interested. Have no affiliates with them or anything, just really enjoying it and think it's a really neat light fixture that's going on here. So we needed to put that up, so he was able to go ahead and get that up. And also I needed to remove those very, I think, hideous brown blinds that we did have hanging in our front bay window. So I went ahead and took those down. I ended up going to Lowe's and getting the white faux wood Levelor, I believe that's the brand name, blinds to put up in the bay window. Now doing all of this is letting in a lot of light, adding a lot of light to the room that wasn't there before, and we're realizing we may not love the paint job. All right, as you can see, the gym is really starting to come together. Getting very excited, was ready to start like doing more of the detail work and hanging stuff up on walls and that kind of thing. However, after we painted the walls, we went with a satin. Originally, Austin wanted flat. That's what he asked for. But once we went into the store and kind of talked about what we were doing, they suggested satin just for like purposes of cleaning and possible condensation if you're like warming up and like body heats and like all of this working out and what would be a gym. And so that's what we went for. But I'm gonna show you like on the walls, shiny and reflective. And like you can see a lot of imperfections because, oh, well, those are just glares, but you see how bright those glares are and how shiny, like even the weights are like reflecting off, which, you know, maybe it's not the weights, maybe it's just the blinds. So it's just, I don't know, it's very reflective and shiny, and it's really not what he was looking for. And he said he'll deal with it, and that's fine. But I really want to make this space what he's looking for, because he has pretty much given me creative freedom over the entire house. And so I want to repaint it today. I went and picked up, so if you're curious about this color, it's called Tricorn. It's right there, Tricorn Black, and I am doing it now in the flat. So I am going to see if I can repaint this room before he gets home today, because he is out of town for a job, so he'll be home later. So we shall see. I'm gonna kind of, I think what I'm gonna do is go ahead and cut in and then paint like half a wall and show you guys the difference of why, you know, this is so important for me to do this for him. Because like you can see my red is reflecting off the wall, like I'm wearing a red shirt. So yeah, let's see if we can get this done and be sneaky and knock it out before he gets back. That way we can move forward the next step of like hanging mirrors and doing the other things that I want to do in here. Now I ended up having to do 3 coats because that satin, you could really see any ounce of shine that was through. So even like the smallest dot that you would see on the walls, you could see it, and you could see overlapping marks really well, which isn't something I've dealt with before. And I've painted a lot of walls, so I'm assuming it has to do with it being a black color. So what I ended up doing was taking the roller sideways against like the trim and crown molding, or sorry, the baseboards and crown molding pieces, to get as close as possible without having to continuously cut in with the brush. And then while that was still nice and wet, I'd refill my brush and I would go from ceiling to floor, and I think I'd go like 2 to 3 times, refill my brush and repeat that process over the whole wall. So I was making sure I was doing one entire like line, moving on, and before that could even think about drying, going to the next line, so that where they overlapped, it was kind of like meshing together instead of you being able to see any harsh lines. And this really helped, and that third coat again helped cover any slight shiny areas that might have been, and we are in love with it now. He was so excited to see kind of how it all came together, because that was more of his vision, and we really wanted that black on white, and again that flat black, so that it's not holding all of that shine or seeing any of that imperfection. And as you can see here, kind of the difference between the two and how big of a difference it actually made. Before it was shining so bright, you could literally see the red from my shirt reflecting off the walls. And so now with that flat black, it's giving the look that he wanted. I think it looks 1,000 times better, and we're very excited for this space to come together. So we re-put everything back together kind of where it needs to go, hung some stuff on the walls, and I will say that we still have quite a bit of work to do with this room. So unfortunately this will be part 1, but there's a lot of detail work and storage stuff that I want to work on to really make this space the best that it can be, along with you know, he's gonna hang his speed bag, you know, find a way to get that braced up on the wall so that he can use it, and some other things. But so far we are so happy with this space. It's gonna be perfect for all the needs that he wants. It has a big bright window so he can let the light in, open the windows if he needs to on a nice day, with the fan and the light. It's just giving all of the vibes that we were looking for, especially when before we were in a basement, so he would go work out in the basement, and though it did have small basement windows, it's just not the same kind of feel that this room has. So I really hope that you guys come check out the next one. I'm gonna do an accent wall and have a good solution for some storage. I'm gonna get the mirrors fully hung on the wall. Right now I just kind of have them all leaning up against the wall, trying to figure out what the spacing that I want, the height that is needed, and all of that. So I'm gonna kind of work on all those final details that are really gonna bring that room together, along with something special that I ordered him that I don't think he knows is on the way yet. So I don't think he's gonna watch this, but stay tuned if you're interested in that. We do have a pull-up bar that still needs to go up. So a lot of fun stuff still coming up, along with all of the progress that we have made on here so far. So please let me know what you think of this. If you're enjoying the vibes, ask me any questions, or if you have any suggestions on a better way to lay things out, or space, or storage, or if you have a home gym that something has worked really well for you, we would love to hear that, because we're just trying to, like I said, just use the space that's available in a smart and efficient way, but also keeping the aesthetic that we're going for. So please let me know what you think. If you've enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. All of the equipment that he has in this room is stuff that he's collected through the years. The cable machine I bought from Valor Fitness. I think it's D2B2 or something like that. It's their cable machine. You can go look it up. It has been amazing. It's a really good quality for the price, and I bought it for him as a surprise. Obviously, when COVID hit, no one could go to the gym, and that's a really big piece of, you know, his day. Like he gets his stress out. That's how, it's just kind of like his way to go de-stress and process, and kind of his way to like just get away from it all. So once COVID hit and took that away, I wanted to make sure he was able to do all the things that he needs in the space that he has, and I ordered that. So this will be year 3 that we've had it. Yeah. And it's been amazing. We've had no issues with it whatsoever, and it functions really great. You do have to have an area to bolt it to the wall, so just keep all of that in mind. Thank you so much for joining me today. Again, keep an eye out for part 2 for all of the fun details and upgrades, and I'm going to take you in for a closer look. I'll see you next time.